Okay, quick music disclaimer here. I do not own the rights to this music, which belongs to the rightful owner, who is the intoxicating mind of Dr. Frankenstein. So he made my intro and my outro, and I hope you guys enjoy. Check them out on Spotify and YouTube, and no copyright infringement is intended. Have a good day.
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
Well, welcome back, folks. I appreciate you guys tuning in back into Twisted Tales here. Tonight, I was going to do this thing by myself here. Steph was going to join me, but, shit day and all, so, what do you do? But it's late, and Liz from Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Popped on here to fire this off with me. Hi, Liz.
Yo, yo.
Yo. So, we covered Bundy, like all his childhood, his teen years, his time in school. We talked about his college years. So tonight, I'm just going to talk about his fucking murder spree across the U.S. So, I guess we'll do a little recap. What do you know about Bundy?
Oh my gosh, I wish I knew this is what we were doing. I would have listened to yours real quick. I feel like
It's
a
all
jerk
good.
now.
Oh,
Just the minimum. I haven't looked into him, I don't know, ignore me.
no, it's fine. I try to, but we're doing a pod together.
Hey. Um, I know he murdered dozens of young women, and I don't remember, was he 70s or the 80s that he operated?
70s. I'd probably say a little bit in the 60s, I would say, I think. Because, why would he just start killing people randomly in the 70s, right? He's probably done shit like this before.
Yeah, and women were like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous, and I don't know that much.
Was his whole, like, his thing, right? Like, even when I was looking up pictures of him and shit, too, like, all of his fucking pictures were different, right? Like, he cut his fucking hair, or, you know what I mean? He just try to make himself look different. He grow a beard, you know, try to
And of
stay.
course,
He was just trying to stay inconspicuous, right?
and I remember him keeping, was it heads or
Yep.
hands? Something in his freezer.
Both. Well, like, he fucking lopped off heads, and he did carry hands with him at some point, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Well, sometimes, you can't lift something, you need some more hands.
Oh,
Terrible.
yes.
So, between the years of 1970 to 1974, it would seem that Bunny kind of had it all, right? Like, he was completing his schooling. He had an honors degree in psychology. He had a good
Oh, that's
job.
so scary.
I know. Like, he was even, like, wheeling and dealing in the Republican Party and stuff.
But like knowing, getting a degree in psychology, just having more of a way to manipulate your victims.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's why he took that course, right? So he could fucking do more shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just crazy. Like, he was dating, like, two women at the same time, too. Like, before he broke it off, his ex or whatever was Stephanie there. And then he kind of did his whole, like, sick payback, right? Like, they didn't talk for a while. And then he kind of got back into it, and then he broke it off with her, right? Because previously she broke it off with him in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended things in 1974. He spent his time with his new girlfriend there. At the time, he was dating Liz Clover, and they met up at the Sandpiper Bar. So he would go get drunk and all this, and then he would start following women like home from different bars that he frequented. It was, I believe, Dante's, the Pipeline, and O'Banion's. So,
Okay.
yeah, too bad it couldn't have been like O'Doyle, O'Doyle's bar. O'Doyle rolls. But Bunny was pretty smart though. He kept his distance, right? He kind of stalked them from afar. and then he tried to find out where they lived. Once he had all their information and stuff, he would fucking go back and, you know what I mean, like try to get to know them a little bit, their surroundings, how they moved around and stuff. And the reason why he did that, well, at first he tried to catch a peek of them, like in the window while they were changing or something, right? Like this whole peeping Tom shit. But
Ew.
over time, he would get this feeling to cause them harm. And there was a time that after he broke it off with Stephanie, it was a few weeks after he left a bar, really drunk. You seen a woman walking down like this dark sidewalk, right? So poorly lighted and shit. And he had this urge to fucking cause her harm or, hurt her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a feeling that he had a time or two before. But this time it was just really overcoming, right? So he would search for like a weapon or whatnot. And as that lady was walking, he found like a weapon over by the dumpster. So this is like a wooden 2x4. So he tracked her down a few more blocks, and he realized that he wasn't going to be able to approach her without being seen. So what he did was cut through an alleyway and then kind of get ahead of her. Then he came up in front of her and he waited in the darkness, and nobody was around at this point, right? So this would be like the perfect time to fucking strike. Now, the woman had went up the stairs to a house, and then she was gone. So he totally missed his chance, right? So he discarded his weapon and he left fucking completely drunk and pissed off. So she got into her house and everything, right? So she was safe.
So how did he know? How did she know that he was trying to attack her?
She didn't. He just kind of fucking went on his own way, right? Like he followed her and stalked her, right?
So how do we know now? He admitted to this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this is all like in his interviews and shit later on after he was jailed and stuff.
gotcha.
Yeah, there's tons of crazy stuff, man. Buddy would recall this stuff in like later interviews and stuff, and he would tell them how he felt at these times, right? So he said that there was like two personas that he was kind of fighting for dominance over, you know? Like they were trying to like dominate his life. So the first was like his more rational, law-abiding self, if you can fucking believe that. And then he would try to refrain from harming women and stuff. He was actually horrified by the attacks. It also resolved to prevent him from being caught too, right? So he was like kind of cautious about stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, the whole two persona thing. Weird.
Do you believe he actually had like the, what do you call that?
Uh,
Dissociative identity disorder, like
mm,
to like a split personality, or do you think this was just like a crutch? He was like, "Oh my gosh, it was the other guy. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man."
I don't know. Like even in all his interviews that I watched, like you can tell sometimes like you'd think he's bullshitting, but he was probably telling the truth. He was just all over the place. He would also talk in like the third person and stuff, right? Like he actually,
Ah, that's
yeah,
so gross.
yeah, like he actually helped the cops on a couple investigations and shit too. But I mean, like the whole thing, he actually called this his entity. This was a force that drove him to do these horrific acts.
Right?
Yeah, you mentioned being able to like fight this off too, right? At least for a few months anyway. And he said that there was a couple times that he even thought about committing suicide, but that didn't happen, obviously. And before long, like he was just back up to his old tricks, right? Lurking in alleys, peeking in windows, just really dwelling on why he didn't bash that first woman in the head that night too.
Yep. He's probably sitting in the corner like, "Ted, why didn't Ted do this?" Creep.
Oh, it's fucking insane. Yeah, it was just weird. Like even he told his girlfriend there, like later in the days of his arrest and stuff, that it was the Force, that fucking caused him to kill, and not the Star Wars kind either.
So
The Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you.
I was on a podcast today and they were talking about Star Wars. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen any Star Wars, but I've seen all the Family Guy ones and I've seen Spaceballs. So that's all I need to know.
Spaceballs is the ultimate movie.
Absolutely. Pizza the Hut.
Pizza's gonna send out for you. So when he was staying at this like rooming house there, this was located at 4143 12th Avenue Northeast up in Seattle, Washington. It was here where he was just fucking discarding like college, so he was starting to dip out on his studies, right? Showing up the odd time here and there. And after a few months, he just stopped attending classes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just getting more ballsy by this time, right? Like, he was pissed off. Like, he didn't want to wait for an opportunity to snatch a woman up off the streets. He actually started to fucking break into people's homes and stuff. Dorm rooms. He would fucking rape and murder women.
Damn.
Yeah. And this house that he was staying at, like I said, it was his rooming house. So this meant that it had multiple tenants. They shared use of the rooms, the facilities, all that, right? And this was a cheaper place for students to stay because some of them couldn't afford to stay in the college dorms and stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
back in the 70s, even now, but I mean more so back then, like folk would open up their homes to college students, so it would be cheaper rent and they would rent their extra rooms out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was good of them. But I mean, fuck, it opened up a lot of chaos, right?
Yeah.
Well, back in that time, when he was starting the murders, the place he was staying was known as the Rogers Rooming House. It was actually owned by Ernst and Frida Rogers.
Ernst. Sorry, go ahead. Just the name Ernst. Go ahead, sorry. I'm stupid. Ignore me.
No, I can't. You're on the show.
Oh. Delete everything Melissa is in.
So this house is located in the heart of the University District. And Bundy, with his good looks and everything, he would have blended in with the other students pretty fucking beautifully. So that name Ernst, what'd you think of that?
It was great. I think if I have another child, I'm going to name him Ernst. Ernst Cornelius.
What a great name.
Thank you.
Not a problem. I'll send you something for your baby shower.
I ain't having any more kids, but yeah, okay, go ahead.
So he was living in the University District in Seattle. Now Bundy moved up there in September 1969. Now this was after he returned to Washington after like a 6-month fucking stay in Philadelphia. And this is where he attended Temple University. Some say like when he went down there, like he killed people down there. There's a possibility on that.
Yeah,
Then he just fucking came back here, right?
right.
So, like I said, at this time, he was getting the urge to lash out at women. Now, they were a big interest to him. He used his charm, his wit, all that to kind of lure them in, right? So it was around this time where he was getting the urge to just lash out at women, as they were just a really big interest to him, right? So he would use his charm, his wit, he would lure them in, and it was here when they would meet the true Ted Bundy.
Dun dun.
Dark, the twisted side of him, you know what I mean? Like, that he hid from the world, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody knew this guy's like a funny guy, a charmer, and he used these characteristics to his advantage, 10 fucking fold.
Bundy lived on the second floor for 4 years until he left for Utah on September 2nd, 1974. Bundy most likely started his crime spree while he was living here in January of 1974. He attacked his first known victim, Karen Sparks, in a house that was less than half a mile away. Does my voice sound crap? Christopher? I looked the distance up, and it's only 0.4 miles away from where Bundy stayed. It's anywhere from a 5 to 7 minute walk.
So she was in her apartment at 4325 8th Avenue Northeast. So this is up in the University District of Seattle. So the house was eventually torn down in 1985, and this was to make way for a new 4-story apartment block. They called this Westwood Apartments.
Sparks was Bundy's first known victim. I know we covered a bit of this prior to this episode. I know you covered a bit of this prior to this episode. He snuck in through her window and attacked her. Bundy ripped a metal bar off of her bed frame, beat her with it violently, rendering her unconscious, and then took the same bar, and then took that same bar into her vagina, which caused internal injuries. She was found the next morning when her roommates noticed that she didn't come down for breakfast and that the basement door, which was always locked, was left slightly ajar. She remained comatose for a period of 10 days. She survived the attack, which left her permanently brain damaged, and she has no memory of the attack.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, Karen was 18 years old at the time of the attack, right? She was just a student, and she was a dancer at the time, too. Now,
So
later
messed
that
up.
day, yeah, no, it's fucking crazy. Now, later that day, Ted approached 18-year-old Sharon Clark. She was from Seattle. So he was pretending to have a broken arm, and he had trouble carrying his books. So she's seen this. Obviously, she's going to try to help him, right? She went with him in his Volkswagen, and then they drove off. And she was attacked, raped, and assaulted, but she ended up managing to escape. She later testified against him in court. And this is one of like the little lesser known ones, but it still happened, right? And glad she escaped and everything, so she got the fuck out of there. So a month after this assault on Karen Sparks, there was another attack.
Now I'm kind of remembering his Volkswagen he rigged so you couldn't get out the door, right? Yeah, okay. I gotta listen. I gotta catch up on you as I suck. I'm sorry. Edit, as Chris would say. The next victim of Ted's was Linda Ann Healy, born 1952 in Seattle, Washington. She was a college student, a senior at the time. Before college, she went to St. Newport High School up in Bellevue, Washington, and graduated in 1970. She worked part-time as a ski resort announcer for Western Ski Promotions and would broadcast ski condition reports to 20 radio stations in Washington and Oregon. She landed this job because of her voice, a woman of many talents. Linda was 21 years old at the time. She was 5'7", a psychology student who was about to graduate, and she worked part-time caring for handicapped children. She wanted to work with children, helping the most vulnerable members of the society. She was known for her kindness, her beauty, and her intellect.
Her parents were James Russell Healy. He was born 1926. He passed in 1998 at the age of 72. And her mother was Joyce Ann Strickland Healy. Her mother, Joyce, passed away on December 27th, 2020 due to complications from COVID-19. So she had two siblings, a brother named Robert and a sister named Laura. So she grew up in the middle-class suburban neighborhood of Newport up in Bellevue, which is like 5 miles east of Seattle, I believe. So because of this whole radio thing, the students at the University of Washington had begun their day like listening to the sound of Linda's voice, right? Like it's something that they fucking grew accustomed to, right? Day after day.
Yep.
And she was always persistent with this, right? She never missed a day or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, during her first couple of years at the University of Washington, Linda lived in the residence hall on the campus. But for her final year, she decided to move into a house at the northern end of the U District.
They lived in a greenhouse, which was located not far from the University of Washington at 5517 12th Avenue, Northeast. This was a house she shared with 4 other female students. It was located not far from where Karen Sparks was staying. It's actually only 1 mile apart and about a 15 to 20 minute walk. On January 31st, 1974, around 5 p.m., her roommate, Jill Hodges, picked her up on campus, and Healy ate dinner with her roommates before running to the grocery store. She returned around 8:30 p.m. A little bit later on in the evening, Linda decided to go out with a few friends for some fun, food, some drinks, and this was Dante's Tavern, located at 5300 Roosevelt Way, Northeast, Seattle. This place is permanently closed these days. It closed on August 2015 after a fire caused by overheated electrical wiring.
And then it was replaced by a high-efficiency 52-unit apartment building. See, we're doing things. Now, Dante's Tavern. Not, what am I thinking? Dante's Inferno, the movie.
That's what I was thinking when I saw the name. Yep.
But it's not a movie, it's actually a fucking college bar.
Yeah.
So here they offered up like Monday Night Football, and they had an endless supply of cheap shots. They're actually
Mm-hmm.
known for the Jello shot syringe. So it's just
Yep.
a
Yep.
plastic syringe needle that's originally used for medicine, but it's fucking filled with the Jello shot.
Well, it's not like the medicine one. It's like, well, it is for medicine, but like the ones that you give to your kids, like if you want to give them amoxicillin. But I used to
Yeah.
do those in college.
Did you,
Yeah, but the syringe ones were fun. Huh?
oh, you went to college. Good, good.
Okay. I didn't get a college degree though. Don't group me with him.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Now, this was a place that Linda frequented with friends. And this was also the hangout of Ted Bundy. He was seen here a time or two. He would watch women over a few weeks while he was here. So, like, he'd go get drunk and he'd fucking scan the room, right?
Yeah. What a fucking creep though, just lurking in the corner.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have your back to the wall, I guess, right?
That's
But,
what
I
I
mean,
do when I go into any restaurant or bar or anything. I'm always back to the wall.
I know, me too. But, I mean, to everybody else, he was just a fucking normal patron, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he'd buy his drinks and he'd be on his way. Now, Linda and her friends hung around for about an hour or so before they left. They ordered 2 pitchers of beer between the four of them.
Mm-hmm.
And because Linda had to be up early for work and everything, she and one of her friends there needed to catch a bus at like 10 p.m. So, I mean, they kind of left and finished their drinks.
Yep.
Now, the quickest route
Root.
back from Dante's was only 0.2 miles long. So it would have been about 5 minutes to walk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Linda went home. She spoke to an old boyfriend over the phone for a bit. She watched a bit of TV and then came and talked to her roommate. Now that was Brenda Little. So she was in the other room studying a bit late, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
Linda seemed to be in like this really good mood and everything, but she went to her own room in the basement, and this is around 12 a.m. or so. And Brenda had stayed up studying until 2 a.m.
Linda had her morning radio ski report, and unbeknownst to her, Ted was outside watching her house. Fucking creep. Now, it's uncertain if he was at the bar that night and saw her, or he was just doing his creepy, normal stalking rounds, being a peeping Tom. Notably, there is a small alley behind the house. Given the fact that Bundy was a highly experienced voyeur, it seems plausible that he discovered this alley at some point while he was prowling around in the darkness and probing the exterior. Although there is a fence in the back of Healy's former house, there may have been gaps in one of the neighboring properties, and Bundy, the creep, was crafty. He would find a way to gain access to his victims' homes.
Now, as soon as the lights went out, he was at the door, so he tried the knob, and half expecting it to be locked, he turned the knob and he gained access to the place. Now, little known fact here, this actually, like going down there, the 2 rooms, it was
Mm-hmm.
divided into 2 units by like a plywood wall or whatever, right? And the other room was Brenda's. Now, Linda always awoke at 5:30 a.m., and the roommate would hear her alarm, but it was always shut off quickly. Fortunately, not that morning. Now, Brenda got up and she actually turned it off. Nothing looked out of the ordinary. The room was neat, tidy. Nothing was out of place. The bed was made. Just looked like she got up for work a little bit early and she took off. Now, Brenda was just about to leave for the day, and that's when the telephone rang. It was actually the radio station because they were looking for Linda. So she was like, well, Linda just left for work, right? So
Mm-hmm.
later on, she didn't show up for her classes either. So people kind of noticed that she hadn't been on the broadcast that morning too, because she did this shit 5 days a week. People thought this was like a little unusual because she was the person that you relied on to tell you what was going on in the mountains. And for the next couple hours, her roommates just waited around pretty anxiously, right? Like, where the fuck is she, right? And, they were just hoping that she would just walk through the door, some sort of explanation, something happened, what have you. But later that day, she didn't show up for her parents' house for supper. Family called around to friends, neighbors, and nobody had seen her. The bicycle that she used to ride to work was actually still outside of her room. So eventually, police were called, and she was reported as a missing person. So police began to think that this could be related because Karen was attacked like 4 weeks earlier, and this is generally in the same area of town.
Yeah.
Now, Detective Wayne Dorman and Ted Fonis were called to the scene. Maybe it's Faunus, hooked on Faunus.
Could be.
But the officer chatted with the roommates. They said they noticed like a couple things. It was the back door that they always kept locked. That was open. Now the house had like a side door that actually led down into Healy's room in the basement. So this place is like relatively close to Cohen Park. The house is
Mm-hmm.
halfway between Northeast 56th Street and Northeast 55th Street. This is in the north of the University District or what have you. So when the officers went down to her room, they also noticed how it was like really tidy. But what caught one of the roommates' eyes was the way that the bed was made. Linda always pulled the covers over the pillow, but the way that the bed had been made this time was the blankets were tucked underneath and the pillow was on top. So this was out of place, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she seems like a very routine-driven person.
Yeah, I mean, like she got to work on time, she got to school, she did her studying, prim and
Mm-hmm.
proper. Now, detectives, when they pulled back the blanket, they noticed some blood that stained the sheet and the pillow. So it wasn't enough to, like, indicate someone was fucking killed, but it was enough to know that they were injured. Now, one of her bed sheets was missing. Her nightgown was found hung up in the closet with, like, a ring of blood around the neckline, and the clothes that she had worn the previous night were gone as well. Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Now, a pink satin pillowcase that usually lay on her bed, that was gone, and her backpack was also missing. And the fact that nobody heard anything suggested that it was a very quick and powerful, like, attack.
Yeah, definitely. If there's only a piece of plywood between you and your roommate.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're tiptoeing, you're being sneaky, I mean, you might. Remember when you get that feeling like you feel like you're being watched in your sleep and you wake up for a sec?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what happened, and then he just fucking had this blunt object and he just smashed her with it, right? That was his whole fucking calling card. So by now, the detectives like had their suspicion that somebody did enter the room, and they subdued her with a blow to the head. They stripped her out of her clothes, put her into her street clothes, carried her away, wrapped up in the missing bed sheet, and obviously by this time they didn't know if she was alive or dead.
Bundy dressed her in blue jeans, a white blouse, and boots and carried her away. Shortly after the disappearance, investigators interviewed more than 65 people, but were still left with very few leads into Healy's disappearance. So here's what happened to Linda. Bundy loaded her up into his Volkswagen, drove up to Taylor Mountain, an area where he frequently went camping. He dragged her out of the car while still unconscious. He raped her and sodomized her. Every time she would wake, he would do this all over again. He ignored all her pleas and cries for help before finally strangling her to death. Sick fuck.
Jesus Christ. Like, oh, yeah, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, she died in Kings County, Washington, United States, a 26-minute drive from Seattle, Washington, one of 3 Washington counties that are included in the Seattle metropolitan area, along with Snohomish County to the north and Pierce County to the south.
So at the time of the abduction, Bundy was living at 4143 12th Avenue in the University District of Seattle, exactly 0.8 miles away from Healy's residence. So, I mean, funny they didn't go around to the neighborhood and shit. Or, maybe they did and they fucking talked to Bundy, right? But he wasn't a suspect at that point.
Right.
And 13 months later, in March 1975, there were like 2 forestry students. They stumbled upon a human skull on Taylor Mountain. This is up in Washington State. So police eventually later on, like after Bundy's arrest and everything, they did a search of the site. Police discovered like the partial remains of 4 women, and among these remains was Healy's mandible. So that was her jawbone.
Yep.
And the police were actually able to positively identify the mandible by comparing it against her dental records. I mean, everybody knows about Bundy, his arrest, everything, right? It's not like we're talking at a fucking turn here.
No, but that's so sad that's... Hopefully they found the rest of her so at least her parents could lay her to rest intact.
No, go ahead.
No, that was it. Go ahead.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
So Linda was 5'7". She weighed 115 pounds. She had long brown hair and blue eyes. Now, by that point, the authorities were aware that a predator was targeting women in the Seattle area. However, they had no solid leads on his identity. And her parents ended up burying whatever was left up in Sunset Hills Memorial Park up in Bellevue, Washington. Even at first, like when Bundy did this and everything, like he started thinking like if anybody had seen him or anything, right? Or if police would be on his ass. But nobody knew who he was at this time. They didn't suspect him. But, he was in the clear and everything, so he started back up again. So what he did here is called a cooling off period. So a fucking cooling off period, it's actually the time between homicides or inter-murder intervals between killings. So it's where they return to their normal life. And then they just fucking continue on killing sometime later.
Right.
Yeah, and like even in these periods, they can vary in length. They're kind of unique, right, to each individual, mind you. It distinguishes them between like spree or mass killers and stuff. But the length of the cooling off period can vary.
Police analyze the behaviors of serial killers between each homicide, which may give insight into when or if they will kill again. Of course, this was after the term serial killer was coined. Bundy was still free and continued on with the stalkings and brutal attacks on unsuspecting women.
So then, on a rainy evening of March 12th, 1974, Bundy fucking struck again. This time, it would be 19-year-old Donna Gail Manson. Now, she was born June 9th, 1954, up in Olympia, Thurston, Washington, USA. She was daughter to Lyle and Marie Manson. Now, Lyle Manson was born August 29th, 1917, up in Marion, Iowa, and Mrs. Manson was born May 9th, 1923, in Auburn, Washington. So the couple were wed December 4th, 1952. They had 2 kids together, Donna and her younger brother, James. So Lyle served in the Navy during World War II. He was actually a Pearl Harbor survivor. And upon returning home, he continued up with his education and graduated with his Bachelor of Arts in Music Education. This is from Coe College, June 1949. Then he went on to earn his master's from fucking Central Washington University, which is the same college that Susan Rancourt was abducted from. And that was back in 1952.
Hmm.
Yeah, just a little bit about the family and stuff, right? I mean, maybe people don't know this stuff.
Yep.
Plus, the ADD makes me like, what's this guy do? So after graduating, he got a position as a music teacher for the Seattle School District.
Donna's mother, Marie Manson, graduated from the University of Washington in 1949 with a bachelor's in music education and worked part-time as a legal secretary. She was also the choir director at Auburn First United Methodist. At the time of her disappearance, Bundy was living at 4143 12th Northeastern, Seattle, in the rooming house of Frida Rogers. He was a student at UPS Law School. He was commuting on Mondays, Wednesday, and Friday nights with 3 other students. Bundy was receiving unemployment compensation during this time, so he didn't have much going on and had nothing but time. Donna Manson graduated from Auburn Senior High School in 1972 and attended Green River Community College for a short period of time before transferring to Evergreen State College. The campus at Evergreen State College is less than 10 miles east of Olympia. It's a public liberal arts college in Olympia, Washington, founded in 1967. I love how Chris adds all the years.
You're welcome. Now, Evergreen's main campus, which includes its own saltwater beach, mind you, that's awesome. So this spans 1,000 acres of forest, close to the southern end of Puget Sound.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was built in an isolated remote spot, and it was just totally surrounded by like dense forest of evergreen trees. So I mean, it's give you guys a little bit of detail and stuff on that. So on the day of her abduction, Donna planned on going to this folk dancing class.
At her school's activity building. The classes focus on basic steps, formations, terminology, introducing students to different dance styles and traditions. Later that same night, she made plans to go to a jazz concert at the Daniel J. Evans Library, which was also on the school grounds, located at 2700 Evergreen Parkway Northwest. Some call it the heart of the Evergreen State College's Olympia campus.
So the whole show was scheduled to start at 8 p.m. Now, she lived in room 206 of the C building on campus. Now, she was just a really intelligent young woman. She earned good grades over the course of her academic career, and she was actually working towards a bachelor's degree in English. She had the goal of one day becoming a teacher. Now, Donna enjoyed going out to parties. She had recently spent the summer traveling to Western Europe with her boyfriend, and she was noted for playing the flute and writing poetry and all that.
She had pale blue eyes and chocolate brown hair that she wore long and parted down the middle. She was 5 foot and about 100 pounds. That seems to be like a pretty common theme in him. It seems like brown hair, parted down the middle, light eyes.
Hmm.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, some say that it was because of the ex or whatever here that broke it off with him first. Then they got back together, and he broke it off, right? So he was kind of picking women on the way that she looked. But
Oh.
yeah, I think he just picked women just because he was fucking insane. Because he didn't give a shit by the end of it, right? He was just fucking whoever walked out or whoever he could lure in, he just fucking killed.
Look at the women he's choosing, ones that want to be like teachers and ones that are working with children, and like he's an asshole.
Well, I mean, these would be the ones that will make a difference in the world. What the fuck was Ted doing? Nothing. So the night in question, according to her roommates, Donna had played the flute for a bit. A little earlier in the evening, she ate some beef vegetable soup. She actually left some of this in the pot on the stove. And they noticed that she had been a little bit more focused on how she looked that evening. She actually changed clothes a few times before the concert. She didn't say anything about having a date or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So she decided to wear like a red, orange, and green striped shirt, blue or green slacks, a long, fuzzy black, full length coat, And this actually belonged to her grandmother, so I mean, sentimental value and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And she wore an oval-shaped brown ring. The stone was about half an inch. And Belova Caravel wristwatch. Now, this was her first year at Evergreen State College, and her major was portals. So this means personal options reaching towards effective learning skills. And her tuition was actually paid by her folks, so it was paid by her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the night prior to her disappearance, Donna spoke with her mother on the phone. The two had discussed her idea of taking a trip down to the ocean. Now, this was this upcoming spring recess. So this is when everybody would take a break from studying and whatnot.
Like
So,
spring break?
yeah, thank you. My brain just fucking collapsed right there. So, the mother, Marie Manson, said it sounded like a really good idea to get away for a few days, right? But at that time, there was this whole fucking ongoing gas shortage, right, of the 70s here, so the family said they would find a way, to get there and stuff, and I'll give you guys a little bit of details on that in a sec. So the 70s saw like fucking two major oil crises here triggered by the Yom Kippur War and the Iranian Revolution. So this led to like gas shortages, price spikes, and widespread panic in the US and other Western nations. So the government responded with measures like reducing national speed limit to 55 miles per hour, implementing daylight savings time year round to conserve fuel. Fuck, I wonder how that worked. Whatever. Oh, it's fucking 7 o'clock. We gotta go to bed. Ugh. So yeah, I mean, some states even implemented like odd even gas rationing too, like where drivers could only fill up on certain days based on their license plate number.
Yeah.
Now, the whole oil crisis thing led to like this reassessment of the U.S.'s dependence on foreign oil and prompted efforts to increase domestic oil production and improve energy efficiency. So there's that little ADD spiel for me.
Okay. So she was heading to the jazz concert, but she never made it. Somewhere between her dorm and the concert hall, she disappeared while walking in the direction of the concert. Donna engaged in some high-risk behaviors. She would often hitchhike alone and was known to associate with individuals using hard drugs, likely as one of the effects of the depression and anxiety she was battling. Donna sometimes skipped class and would leave the area without telling anyone, and later would safely return. While some of these behaviors were normal among her age group, they also had a higher likelihood of placing her in dangerous situations. Potentially, this is also why she wasn't reported missing until 6 days after the concert.
Yeah, no, like she would just take off for a bit and like, okay, well, this is normal to her friends, right? Because she would just go off on her own and then come back.
Yeah, but sadly, newspapers didn't start reporting on her disappearance until March 22nd, 1974, and this was a full 10 days after she was last seen.
A lot can happen in those 10 days, too.
Yeah, and she also left behind all of her personal effects, money, clothing, which usually, I mean, if you're going to take off, you'd take your money, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And back in the 70s, she had no mode of transportation other than hitchhiking, which is a dangerous way to get around. Even though it was more normal back then, it's still not safe.
Yeah, like everybody hitchhiked back then, man. Like it was like fucking their mode of transportation, right? Like, well, we need to get over here. Well, everybody was just so nice back then, too, depending, if you're
Yeah,
Bundy or some other fuck. But I mean, like, they would drive and make sure you got there okay, right?
yeah.
But Bundy just, he would drive you and you would not even get there and you wouldn't be okay.
Some of her friends reflected back on that night. Signs of Ted were seen on Evergreen College campus by students. His yellow Volkswagen was of a special note. Also very telling was the fact that Donna herself had mentioned meeting a man on campus who wore his arm in a cast at the time, which Ted has done in the past. Ted was known to have used this ruse to abduct victims. Her roommate, Deanna Ray, called police in order to request assistance to contact the parents of her roommate, Donna Manson. Deanna said that she had checked every possible place for Miss Manson and came up empty. Thurston County Sheriff's Department contacted the sheriff's office in Auburn to get a hold of the parents. They called and nobody was home.
So, several days after her disappearance, local police went to the family home up in Auburn, and they told them that Donna had like run away from school or something, right? Because they didn't know.
Yep.
Now, this was news that made her mother immediately feel wicked, uneasy. She immediately knew that she didn't run away and that something happened to her, and now the whole investigation would now be underway.
Mm-hmm.
So, on 4 different occasions, the search teams of up to 200 people had combed the 990-acre college campus with the assistance of like tracking dogs and stuff like that, but nobody could find a single trace of her. Now, the search included like sheriff's deputies, explorer scouts, Fort Lewis Rescue Unit, and other volunteers. After the news got out that his daughter was missing, Lyle Manson immediately drove to Evergreen campus to see if he could find out more information about what may have happened. So once he arrived, Detective Paul Barclift met up with him, and he said, like, just trying to reassure him and stuff. He's like, well, maybe she just went off with like some boyfriend or whatever. But the father was in total disagreement of that. He said, nah, Donna had no need to run away. We've always given her freedom. And, the detectives ended up walking up to the residence hall there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once they got there, there was another man there, Gary Russell. So he was a college security there. He helped search Donna's room with them. There were no notes or letters found. Her suitcases were still there. And there were very few empty hangers in the closet, indicating like few, if any, clothes were missing, right?
Right.
Wait, does that make sense?
No, definitely.
They found like all her like toiletries and stuff. They were in the bathroom. And so the bed was totally unmade. Her camera that she took everywhere with her to document her life and take pictures was still there. Sleeping bag, backpack, her flute, and $5 to $6 in bills, and a little bit of change were all found scattered around. There was a grocery receipt for $10.85 that was found in the trash. That was dated March 11th, 1974. It was a film canister that actually contained like a little bit of marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And this canister here and the grocery list and all that were taken as evidence here. All papers, letters, and notes, they were also taken with them because, they might have some little bit of significant information and stuff.
Yeah.
So they took those to do like a further study. So while at Donna's room here, there was a friend that came over. His name was Tony. So he came in. He wanted to pick up this large fucking oil painting that was there that he brought over. Now, Mr. Manson gave him permission to go in, grab it, and whatnot. So Tony had stated that he went over to Selleck with Donna on the weekend in February. He thought that maybe she went back there for a bit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he did all he could to help and everything, and he gave a statement and all that. So, he cared about his friend. Now, the dude here, Rod Merrim, this guy's director of the security for Evergreen State, he said no inquiry was made to college authorities until March 17th, so 5 days after she walked out of her room. He said, that bothers the hell out of me, if you want to know the truth, right? He's like, this should have been reported before that, right? So he was
Yeah.
kind of pissed about that. And another thing hampering the investigation was that it was spring break, like you said, right? So all the students were just scattered around. So when they got back, they returned, they were questioned. A lot of them were foggy on the whole matter, right? Details, or they didn't remember anything. And honestly, if this investigation had fucking started 10 days earlier, then maybe they would have had a better chance at gaining more information to solve this case.
Right.
Mm. So the three girls that were left in the dorm room there when Donna left, there was Deanna Ray, Phyllis Lee, and Megan Ellis there. Megan was from Gallup, New Mexico. Phyllis was from Burien. I believe Deanna was from New Halem, Skagit County.
About 2 days after the girl's disappearance was reported, a college security patrolman said that he thought he may have seen Donna during the evening. He said she looked preoccupied and as though she might be waiting for someone. The college has circulated posters bearing Donna's picture and asking for information. I believe there was 2,000 or so made, and her father paid for these. Copies of missing posters were sent to the Department of Immigration, which advised they would post them at the southern ports crossing into Mexico as well as into Canada. On April 12th of 1974, Detective Miller of Auburn PD had contacted Donna's ex-boyfriend, Mike Mead. Mike advised that he had seen Donna about 2 months prior but knew nothing about her disappearance. On April 16th, 1974, I hate you. A Mrs. Dunkelberg reported that she was east on Highway 101 and observed a Volkswagen parked west on Madrona Beach Road at Perry Creek. A subject, who was a white male, departed the Volkswagen carrying a rather large object wrapped in a blanket. The subject threw the object and the blanket into Perry Creek on the north side of the bridge. Police subsequently checked the area but could not locate the suspect or the object in the creek. But they requested follow-up in the morning to check the creek during daylight. They checked at low tide, but nothing was observed in the area. A reward was offered of $500 for any information about Donna's disappearance. It was later up to $1,000. After months of frustration, thousands of posters circulated throughout Washington. A desperate contact with a psychic, letters of sympathy, and her parents almost felt like giving up. In an interview, the mother made mention that she had gotten to know her daughter better. She said, quote, "You know, a mother and a daughter, there are all those agonizing conversations. We didn't see eye to eye, and I guess we sometimes only showed the outer surface to each other. Now, in a way, I know what she meant," end quote. But I mean, mothers and daughters always have tension. I doubt this was anything super out of the ordinary. Donna was the second of many young women to go missing in the area. All of the cases were believed to be connected and were believed to have been committed by a man in a sling who went by the name Ted, as this man was seen in the area at the time of some of the disappearances.
Now, even some of her friends remember a strange dude hanging around the college on the days leading up to her disappearance. And it's a little known fact that Bundy frequently visited the college some 25 times. Another scenario was that he may have approached her, perhaps while using like crutches or that arm sling, in a nearby parking lot. This was Lot F. And then asked her to assist him with carrying something to his car, as he was later known to like pull this stunt going forward with other victims. And there was a couple prior too, right? So there was another idea that Bundy parked his car on Hidden Springs Drive, which is close to the C dormitory, and it connects the area around the library with Driftwood Road, which is incredibly close to the route that Donna would have walked to go get her like folk dancing class and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, because traffic on campus was usually like really high in the evening, because like 3 different events were taking place, right? Both of these areas would have been fairly busy at this time, and a careful Bundy wouldn't have taken the chance of getting caught, right? But I mean, at the same time, this guy was a fucking risk taker too, especially while under the influence of alcohol or smoking pot. And, you know, that couldn't be completely ruled out because he did both those things, right?
Right.
And on August 29th, 1978, 2 fishermen walking on Highway 7, southwest of Eatonville, Washington, discovered a human skull on the foothills of Mount Rainier, and subsequent searches uncovered more remains, clothing, hair, all that. Now, one of the items that was found was a multicolored shirt, which was the one similar to what Donna was last seen wearing. So this shirt was like wicked vital, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was described as being like very similar. And unfortunately, all this evidence, you know, the related data and all that will be lost by the Pierce County Sheriff's Department, likely having been accidentally destroyed during a purge of the fucking department's evidence room or whatever. This was sometime during the
Uh,
late 1970s and 80s, so yeah, they lost everything.
that sucks.
Now, the remains were not believed to be Donna's because they were believed to be dumped there after 1974. But unfortunately, since law enforcement lost everything before a positive ID could be made, although apparently like color photographs were taken and stuff, and to this day she's actually classified as a missing person.
Horrible.
Now in 1996, the investigation into her remains were revived, and due to the 1996 article, this was the News Tribune, about 3 sets of remains, including the ones found in 1978. There was two of the skeletons that were dumped in the Tacoma Hill landfill. This was in the late 70s, early 80s, but it's unknown what became of the Eatonville remains, so nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
But after examining the dental records associated with the remains, 8 possible matches, including Donna, were brought to police's attention. There was a forensic dentist that was able to rule out most of the matches and stuff apart from Donna. So this was not enough to identify her. So she still remained a missing person despite the case being revived for that short time. However, dental x-rays taken from the remains were never compared to Donna's known dental charts. So it's unclear as to whether the skull was Donna's. And having used the x-rays to compare with the missing person reports in surrounding local jurisdictions, no matches were found. In support of the remains having potentially been Donna's is the fact that when the search of potentials were narrowed down to 8 possible identities, a forensic dentist hired by the department could rule out 7 of those possibilities. So the only case that remained as potential was Donna's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, bearing the many similarities to be discounted, skeletal reconstructions from the remains pointed towards a person that was 5'7" that was actually several inches taller than Donna was known to be. Now, Donna, having died March 12, 1974 in Olympia, Thurston, Washington. She was 19, and following the disappearance of her potential remains, and final resting place is unknown. And yeah, it just sucks because Donna continues to remain lost, but she's definitely not forgotten, right?
Freaking 19 years old. Like, your life didn't even start yet.
I know. And her father, Lyle Manson, passed away on December 31st, 2007 at 90 years old up in Auburn, Washington. And this was from a prolonged battle with Parkinson's disease.
Ugh. Having no answers to his daughter. That sucks.
Yeah. And all those years too, right?
Yeah.
So during his life, he was an avid fly fisherman. He was a member of the Washington Fly Fishing Club up in Seattle. And he was an active member of the Auburn Post, the American Legion, and the Auburn First United Methodist Church, where he served as an usher up until April 2006. And he's buried at the Tahoma National Cemetery up in Kings County, Washington, USA. And Donna's mother, Mary Nilsen Manson, passed away at her longtime home in May 26th of 2014. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. The family died without knowing anything that happened, right?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. Well, her mother kept busy and everything. She had some hobbies, like gem and mineral collecting, nature photography, card making, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
her brother, I think his name is James that we mentioned. Donna's brother is actually still alive. Currently lives in Seattle, and he's the owner of Axis Stainless Fabrication, and he works with metal. And I did a little bit of research on this guy too, and it appears that he was an expert in his work, and it's actually some of it's on display at the Seattle Art Museum.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, I figured that was a little bit to go in the background of some of the families, right, and give a little bit of detail on the victims too, right?
Yeah.
So I think we'll end it on that note here, folks, and just a little bit of what we have covered so far. and we'll do the rest tomorrow.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Anytime. I appreciate you hopping on. Short notice and all.
Not a problem.
Take care.
You as well.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to Twisted Tales, folks. Have a lovely night.
I haven't been following your case that closely, but you'll have to agree you're the target of a great deal of mystery, and you said earlier macabre interest. Why? I mean, you'll have to admit there's a hell of a lot of circumstantial evidence, at least circumstantial. It seems to somebody who has simply read newspapers and articles.
No, I won't admit that. No, there's. I don't call it. It's not circumstantial as far as I'm concerned. I don't really know exactly what you're referring to, and I don't really want to discuss it. But I don't care what anybody says or the suspicions anyone harbors on the basis of that misinformation. And indeed, that's what I call it: circumstantial information, perhaps, but misinformation as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people trying to pin a lot of stuff on somebody because it's convenient. But
You think you've been set up?
well, I don't think there's any broad scheme, but I think one begins to. I would have to infer that based on some of the police activity. I think following November of '75, you'd have to say that there was a general design amongst police officers in several jurisdictions to do whatever they could. And I think a statement recently made by a sheriff in Utah County, I believe, he said that he walked out in some of those meetings because it was just clear that they had one thing on their mind, and they were going to do anything to prove it. And I think this trial will show exactly what they've done. I'm not going to sit here and say people have perjured themselves, but I think that'll come out.
Are you angry?
Sure, I get angry. Very, very angry and indignant. I don't like being locked up for something I didn't do, and I don't like my liberty taken away, and I don't like being treated like an animal, and I don't like people walking around and ogling me like I'm some sort of weirdo, because I'm not. I'm perfectly happy with the person I am, and I've always been. There's I don't pay my telephone bills on time, and I don't write my mother as many letters as I should. There are all kinds of things I can improve about myself, but a weirdo knows I feel good about myself. I'm happy with myself.
You don't change. You stay Ted Bundy 24 hours a day.
Well, gee, that name sounds funny. I hear Ted Bundy in so many different contexts. I stay me. Okay. I've matured in the past year. Believe me, I've grown in the past year, and I've learned a lot of things about myself in the past year. Being in prison, going through a kind of hell, matures a person, and I think it's done good things for me. My only misgivings is that I might never be in a position to apply it, on the streets where I'd like to apply it.
Do you ever think when you're in that cell about the possibility that you could one day face a firing squad?
They don't have firing squads in Colorado, and I don't think that in any event that I ever think. I don't think about it, honest to God. And I've been asked that question before, and I'm going to give you a pat answer if you don't mind. Did you fly over here from Utah?
Yes.
Did it worry you all the way over that you might be killed in a plane crash?
No.
Are you thinking about it now, going back? Same here. I think I stand about as much chance of dying in front of a firing squad or in a gas chamber as you do being killed on a plane flight home. Let's hope you don't. But
so you don't lie awake at night thinking about it?
Not a moment. Honest to God, not a moment. Because it's not going to happen. And
Are you going to be a free man? Do you think then about being a free man?
Sure. Yeah.
And you think when I say there is circumstantial evidence that I'm in left field, there isn't circumstantial evidence?
I know there isn't. You're dealing on the outside, I'm on the inside. Okay? I mean, you have access to information, but I'm on the inside. I know what's there and I know what isn't there. I've seen the files and I've heard the reports. And Lord knows I'm the first and foremost person who has the personal and intimate knowledge that it couldn't be me, that it's not me, that I'm innocent. Okay? Dealing from that on out, I know exactly what's what. You know? And when you tell me the circumstantial evidence, I'm not going to argue with you, Lucky. It's just, let's just wait and let's just let it come out in court. And let's let it be examined in open court. And I'll lay my money on me. You know? That's the way I feel.
You think about getting out of here?
Well, legally, sure.
With the rumors that have gone on about you, and you're more aware of them than I am, how have you been treated in prison by other inmates?
Well, I think you
Has
may
it made your life more difficult or more dangerous being in prison?
I think you may be more aware of the rumors than I. For this reason, I have heard a lot of talk, and there might be an inmate X who says, you know, Bundy's this and that kind of person. But you know, when I'm confronted person to person by these people, or by people in general, I have never been accused, I have never been assaulted, I have never been verbally abused. And the reason is because I hold my head high, I believe in myself, and I treat every man with the respect that he deserves. And that's the way you get along in prison. One of the many ways you get along in the joint is that you treat a man with respect, that you don't try to hustle somebody, that you come across straight to him. One of the first things you learn, that if you're a straight con and you keep your mouth shut and you keep tight with good people, you're going to stay out of trouble. That's just, and it doesn't make any difference what you've done.
What happens if you're in prison 5 years and nothing like what has happened in the past happens again?
What do you mean?
I mean, any of the things that you have been accused of by innuendo, by rumor, by the police departments or whatever. What if there are no killings, there are no kidnappings?
It's already happened, hasn't it? I've heard some reports. I number the incidents between 5 and 8, which are similar to the ones which the police have had the nerve to try to associate with me. It's going to continue to happen in Salt Lake and Utah until those police start to wise up and stop counting their chickens before they hatch. I think it's a terribly dangerous mentality to try to pin something on somebody who they believe there's a possibility it couldn't have done it. And as long as they believe that, they're not going to find the right man.
What do you think about, in your mind, what do you conjure up about the man that they're after, or the real man who did these things?
Man or men, persons, I don't know. I can't even begin to understand the mentality.
You talk about getting out. Do you ever worry about what some of the parents of some of these women who think you are guilty, that they might come after you?
I don't worry about it. There are crazy people anywhere. I've been told that the parents of these girls are fairly decent people. I don't know, and I really feel for them because apparently they've suffered an incredible tragedy in their lives. The loss of a loved one is probably the most extreme kind of loss you can suffer in this life. And I feel as much for them as anybody can, not having gone through that myself. But as far as worrying about that, hey, if someone's crazy enough and nutty enough to do something like that, I can't stop them. There's nothing I can do.
You are not guilty.
I'm not guilty. I am not guilty of the charges which have been filed against me.
And the allegations.
And the allegations.
And the rumors and the
I don't know all of what you're speaking about, Lucky. It's too broad and I can't get into it in any detail. But I'm satisfied with my blanket statement that I'm innocent. No man is truly innocent. I mean, we all have transgressed in some way in our lives. And as I say, I've been impolite, and there are things I regret having done in my life. But nothing like the things I think that you're referring to.
Have you ever physically harmed anyone?
Ever physically harmed anyone? No. No. You know, Again, not in the context I think that you're speaking of.
Twisted Tales.